So the first season of the Ranma half remake has been completed and season 2 is confirmed. Now there's this discussion about the Ranma half remake being woke. Now in my opinion, I don't think the series is woke. I do agree that they made some changes to the anime that they shouldn't have. The main issue people seem to have is with the English dub, and I'll get into that. The second thing was the censorship. These are the two issues people seem to have with the series. Now I want to talk about censorship first because I feel like this is a small problem and I'll explain why. The original Ranma was rated R+, and the remake is rated PG-13. Now the censorship we're talking about is nudity. In the original Ranma's half, you could see girl Ranma nipples, but in the remake, they removed it. And some people who watched the remake didn't like it and said that it was stupid. And I do agree because you're still showing a naked body, you should have kept the R+ rating. I really don't understand the decision behind that. But the reason I said it wasn't a big deal was because in the original series there wasn't much nudity. And the only time we saw nudity in the original was with girl Ranma, and that was a rare occasion. That's why I don't believe it's a big issue. To me that's a small issue, but let's get to the actual problem, the dialogue. The first dialogue was the Jusenkyo guide, the second one was with Akane, and the third one was Ranma vs Ryuga. Now let's talk about the first dialogue, the Jusenkyo guide. In the original Ranma half, the sub and dub dialogue were pretty similar. Like I said in the beginning, the issue people have is with the English dub. In the original Ranma half dub, this is what the Jusenkyo guide sounded like.
As I thought it'd be. Ooh, sirs, you are very strange ones, no? Ooh, this place is very dangerous.
And this is the remake.
100 springs that have formed here, and at the center of each one of these is a...
Now this did not surprise me because I expected this. Now some people weren't happy with this scene because they toned it down. I'll be honest, when I first watched this scene in the original Ranma half, I thought it was funny. But at the same time, I understand why they toned it down. This is a small issue. This isn't why most people called it woke. It's because of the other two scenes. Nobiki went to tell Akane about the news, but she saw Akane breaking blocks. And Nobiki told Akane, no wonder all the boys think you're weird. And this is where everything began. In the original Ranma half sub, Akane says she hates boys. In the original dub, Akane says not everybody thinks the whole world revolves around boys.
So why should I care, Nobiki? Not everybody thinks the whole world revolves around boys!
Which fits Akane's character and is the closest one to the manga. In the Ranma half remake sub, Akane says she can't stand boys. But in the Ranma half remake dub, she says she hates men.
You're never gonna find a man that will like you if you keep acting like this.
Ask me if I care. How many times do I have to keep telling you that it doesn't matter because I hate men?
I'm like, what do you say fuck me for?
Now, let's break this down. When it comes to the English dub remake, there are two sides for me. I do agree that the I hate men thing was not necessary. Could have easily changed the dialogue to I hate boys or I can't stand boys. I do agree that was not necessary. On the other side, I don't see it as a big issue because boys and men kind of fall under the same category. But before we move on, let me say this. We were talking about how they changed it from Akane hating boys to Akane hating men. That was never the actual dialogue, because if we go to the manga, Akane says not everybody thinks the world revolves around boys. And like I said, the original Ranma half English dub was the closest thing to the manga. And the line Akane says that not everybody thinks the whole world revolves around boys, it fits her character perfectly. Akane doesn't hate boys or men. In fact, she had a crush on the doctor. What I'm saying is not only was the original dub the closest one to the manga, it also captures Akane's character perfectly. Akane doesn't hate boys or men, she just doesn't let her whole life revolve around them. Simple as that. This is why when people brought up the I hate men line, I understood where they were coming from, but when they compared it to the original sub, this is why I disagree. But yeah, that's it for the second scene. Let's move on to the third scene. Ranma and Ryuga were having a fight, and during the fight, Ryuga made a hole in Ranma's shirt. Ranma said that this was his favorite shirt, and Ryuga told him to stop talking about girly stuff. In the original sub, dub, and the remake sub, Ranma told Ryuga who you calling a girl, and he told him to take it back. In the remake dub, Ranma says who says liking clothes is girly.
I don't want to waste time talking about girly stuff in the middle of a fight! Who says liking clothes is girly?
Like I said earlier, there are two sides. One, I could understand where Ranma's coming from because imagine you bought a shirt, it's your favorite shirt and somebody made a hole in it. You would be pissed because you bought that shit with your money and this person is telling you to stop caring about girly stuff. I think that's a reasonable reaction to have. The second side is they didn't have to change the dialogue. Plus that line doesn't really fit Ranma's character. What I mean by that is Ranma wants to be viewed as a guy. Ever since he got the curse, he's embarrassed of his girl form. That's why he tries his best to hide it, unless it benefits him. That's why when Ryoga called him a girl, he got mad and he told Ryoga, who you calling a girl? And he told him to take it back. This was another unnecessary change in the dub. I don't know why they did that.
Who you calling a girl? I'm a guy!
But these are the three reasons why some people consider the anime woke, which I disagree with. These changes are pretty small and I wouldn't consider the anime woke over that. Besides those small issues, I haven't seen anything major. Everything else is pretty much the same. If you don't like the remake, you could always watch the original or read the manga. Plus the original has some really good music in my opinion. But yeah, I don't think the Ranma half remake is woke. But I'm glad it's getting a second season. Hopefully it gets a third because Ukyo is one of my favorite characters. But anyways, that's about it.